out the intro, okay? Good evening, everyone, and welcome to a special edition of the Front Lines. I am here, as always, with my co-host, Dan Lutz. See, it's not that easy, man. It's not that easy. But regardless, tonight is actually a very serious matter. This is the Front Lines, and we have a special guest with us today from Speakwalkers, Michelle Walker. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Well, I know today's kind of a dark day. So
it is.
We're going to address a little bit of an issue today that we have already brought up. And, to be quite honest, I would love to tell you that we have amazing news about it, but we don't. We informed you a few days ago now, I guess. I'm not sure exactly which day we did, maybe on Sunday, that, we had some experience. Michelle Walker had gone into a meeting. She was part of Phil McConnell's team, also known as Able Danger, and his group is called the Child Crusaders. That's what it is, Michelle?
Children's Crusade.
Children's Crusade. Now, the Children's Crusade professes to be a group that is helping parents with kids that have been taken by CPS unlawfully in most cases with some poor judgment. And really, we know, and they allege to know the same, that Child Protective Services is really being used as a human trafficking, well, really a child trafficking network. This is actually established and incentivized by a grant that was set up and a bill that was set up during the Clinton administration. And this is also ties back to Epstein and Pizzagate and all the same things of the elite mediocrity that's in power in our country, and they have allowed this to take place. So much so that we just warned you recently that even when you call the number, the hotline that President Trump, because President Trump wants people to blow the whistle on actual Child Protective Services. Now, when you call that number, it takes you to a very specific place. Now, Michelle, because I don't want these things to happen again, could you please explain what happens when you call that number?
Yes, I actually warned you about 3 weeks ago. This is something that you and I discussed about the court of record and the importance of the alliance that we've been working on. With the court of record for the people, with We the People courts. And so you and I discussed this actually about 3 weeks ago before I realized where the evidence was going to. But I had said to you, I was very concerned that people would send their cases to a committee that might be corrupt, and that the committee would then know the evidence and what was going on in these cases. And so I was invited to a meeting, and in that meeting, which you have, the audio as well, and it was brought to my attention that on the fact sheet with the Trump administration, where they were telling these parents, we want you to be whistleblowers, we want you to give this evidence to us, and where the evidence goes to ties into the number to the missing exploited children. Now, the reason that is a red alarm is because the missing exploited children number ties into the Clinton Foundation. We can show you where contracts are with the Podesta, where the marketing end of the side of this is tied to the Podestas. And you've got the McCains involved in this situation. It's, the Amber Alert is tied to the Silsby lady that was taking the children out of Haiti. If you remember that, that's mentioned in the Clinton emails, Hillary Clinton, when she was trying to make sure she was okay. So when you look at this bed of all these corrupt people, and for some reason, we have on the Trump administration, on the fact still asking the parents to send it to the missing exploited children, your data, your information. And in my opinion, doing that is still putting all your information in the hands of the corrupt, the darkness, who are personally responsible for the reason we're in this situation right now and exploiting and taking your children.
Okay, so to make that very clear, everyone out there who happens to see this now and in the future, please share this with your friends. The hotline number, it actually goes to an organization that is tied back to the Clinton Foundation through the Podestas, and that's who owns the contract, right? And this is for the missing children. So
The phone number is registered to the Clinton Foundation. And then
right.
if you look at the missing exploited children, if you chase the money, follow the money, which you know I like to do, you can see that the advertising part is tied to Podesta. And so when you look at all of them, the Amber Alert is part of that. It's got the Sylvie girl running it. So everything basically in the child pedophile services is being ran still on a government level by people who are involved in exploiting your children. And you have to remember that in the United States, that child pedophile services takes over 700 children a day in the United States.
So the CPS that we affectionately refer to as the child pedophile services, because they are actually fueling the entire network of these corrupt elite pedophiles who not only do they molest the children, which in and of itself is awful, but they also murder the children and harvest their organs and sell them and keep them as slaves until they're completely damaged adults, right? And they often will pimp them out, and actually solicit them and allow dirty old men to come and rape them sometimes as much as 16, 17 times a day. And this is on record. This is something that Jacobo Yesman also has spoken about, and several other people in this world.
And in the record now, it came back and changed this past year. I still not been able to check the numbers with Ivanka Trump, who made the announcement. But last year, the numbers were that 88% of the children that came out of that were in the child trafficking ring, 88% of those had came from Child Protective Services. So when you have 88% of these children that are being funneled through Child Protective Services, this is not a system that protects it. That's why I do not call it Child Protective Services. I call it Child Pedophile Services because that's what it is.
So basically, you have the other statistic, which I've always found compelling, is 89% of the kids. This is from an FBI report. 89% of the children being taken from families by Child Protective Services is based on false accusations, right?
Correct.
So,
I actually have a senator Senator out of Arkansas had even said that. And this is an argument that I made with our government when 89% of the children in the system do not have a true deal of abuse, not true malnutrition. No, there's no true source of abuse. 89% of the children. So I said to them, if you know the number of how many children that are not really supposed to be in the system, what is the issue here? And when school's out on Saturday and Sunday, let's go pick these kids up in the school buses and let's take them home. I mean, it's that simple. This is not a system that has to be so complicated. If you know the number, therefore you know who the children are, you've identified them.
right.
You know the number. You, as the government, has identified these children, and it is time to bring them home. And, you can choose to work with us, or, we can do it another way. It's however they want to do it.
Okay, so now this is a very, very serious issue, obviously, and I want to point this out. I have spoken to dozens of parents now who have wrongfully had their children taken by Child Protective Services. Every one of those parents tells me the same exact thing. I knew that this happened. This is what they always say. They knew it happened, but they never thought it could happen to them. Now, I want to point this out. Even Antifa, because they're obviously part of the same system, they're aware of this, so they even threaten to call conservative advocates or conservatives in general and make anonymous phone calls to Child Protective Services to have people's children taken. Now, that is all it takes to have an armed sheriff with a representative from Child Protective Services show up at your house and take your child. So now, think about it. Everybody out there who thinks, in like rural white America or wherever you are, that you think that would never happen in your neighborhood, that only happens in other neighborhoods. Do you not think that you have an enemy somewhere that somebody could easily do that to anyone? Because every mother I spoke to, they all had the same story. They were good parents. They didn't do anything wrong. And as a matter of fact, I spoke to an attorney in Florida today. Not just an attorney. She was actually an engineer, mother of 3, and she became an attorney. So this is a very competent professional woman with a professional husband, a family that is intact. Her last child was born with a slight birth defect, and she was actually going through the process, but she would not vaccinate her children. Now, the sheriff came, and they had been, after her child got sick, the child had to have major surgery, right, just to be normalized. And along the way, the child got sick. She took it back into the hospital. Because she took it back into the hospital, the social worker filed a claim at Child Protective Services, and they called and let her know she had to be monitored. And they showed up to her house with social workers and a sheriff. And the sheriff was very clear. He said they're doing this, and he wasn't warning her, by the way, like wasn't trying to help her. He goes, they're doing this because you don't vaccinate your kids, like because they think you're crazy because you don't vaccinate your kids. But in reality, they want you to vaccinate your kids so they can dumb your kids down as well as you. Because as we know from the actual CDC meeting that just happened, there is also a schedule to vaccinate adults because they want all of us to be suffering with the same brain fog all the time. So we can't make sound decisions. Now, that's a side note. I don't want to get distracted with that, but I do want to say this. It is very important in this time because we understand Child Protective Services is funded by federal grants. This is an organization that masquerades as a legal, as if they have a legal authority to come do these things. The first thing is they have no right to take your children. Never let them in the house. They cross the plane. I would also recommend being heavily armed because don't you let somebody come in and take your child. Now, I'm going to give you evidence and reason to do that. In this day and age where we're at, it is essential that we have options, that we have other task forces being formed that are dedicated to protecting the children. Now, there is a group out there that we are just describing with Able Danger. Now, in this, Michelle was part of that team. Now, that makes it personal to all of us here at Create Change and the Speak Project, and I'm sure even Dan in the front lines, because he's our Philippines branch of the Create Change. But that being said,
Dan is where we started, so
yeah.
To me, this is Dan's family for me, and this is how I met all of you.
Me too, actually.
So, and to me, I think that we're all a team and we're all family.
So that being said, to be perfectly clear, so the group from Able Danger, we've been tiptoeing around this out of respect to that whole team, right? They must be trying to do good work, right? So Michelle's in the meeting, and at the meeting, this is Able Danger's team, right? They are making claims and putting names out of the different parents they are helping. Able Danger went so far as to say that he guaranteed that there'd be an executive order on the desk or on the that was there to be given to the parent on this past Monday when the parent had to go to court. And she wanted to have that. It was essential to her being successful, from what I understand, okay? Now, here is the part.
We still haven't got it.
Now, here's the reason why we're doing this tonight. And this is a public service announcement because it is very difficult right now to even find groups that I feel like we can trust to actually do this. Now, I do suspect Craig Sawyer would be a good person to work with, but the problem is with Craig Sawyer is they're underfunded because we're trying to bring these project funds in for these things, and because these scumbags have had control of the money, which, by the way, that's about to end too. But in the meantime, we have parents who need help today, right now. So the first thing I want to say to all the parents out there, do not give your child up for any reason to Child Protective Services, no matter what you have to do. Do not give your child up. They are a corrupt organization, and they are there to take your child and fill an order and traffic.
They're private entity.
That's right. Now, today is really a heavy day, though. I don't want to make light of it. And I am known to joke around in the most dire of situations. To do this kind of stuff, you really have to try to have a sense of humor. But we warned everyone just a few days ago that Able Danger's team, they didn't even have the case files. They didn't have the docket number. They didn't have any of the information. In fact, when the meeting took place, the only person who showed up prepared was Michelle. Now, the next thing is Michelle took it upon herself, as she does, because she's the kind of person who goes out and does things instead of just talks about them. So she called up the parent to find out because it was a very heavy case, and there was plenty of reason that this woman should get her child back. But there was a dowry on this child's head, so Michelle knew. I believe what Michelle, if I get it right, Michelle, tell me if I quote you right on this. I remember Michelle telling me we don't have much time. She knew they had to move. Is that right?
Yeah, actually, even on the audio with Cara, when I called her to confront her, I've actually been working with Cara since August on this case. And so when I got the Zoom invite to come in with the Children's Crusade, that group of asking me to come into a Zoom meeting, the reason I agreed was because Cara's name was at top. There were 3 names, and Cara's name is at the top. And I'm like, well, I've been working this case. And this case was very critical for me. And I actually had sent the information in August the 17th to Phil McConnell with the information that I had worked on and with Foyer and all of that. I had the evidence, and I had tied this case to the Clinton Foundation, or the Clintons, and some very serious things going on with this case. And so I go into the meeting, and I'll explain this case in a minute, but I go in the meeting, and they didn't have the police report tank, they didn't have the court case number, nothing. And I was like, so I was the one giving the information, and I'm like, what is going on here? Like, and you call me into a meeting, and you don't have nothing. And so in this meeting, I gave information, and you and I spoke that night after the meeting, and I think at that point, kind of the red alarm was going off, because we were already dealing with, you were trying to help me confirm about the 2,100 children. So we've had a couple of weeks here that unfortunately, because of people wanting to deceive the public, it takes time away from you and your team to help me find out what is the truth. And I do appreciate for all of y'all for doing that. But you took your time to work out if the 2,100 children had been rescued. I was using my sources. We cannot prove that. And so that was important for me with you, because I have always told you that I'll speak the truth. And if this was not a true statement, then I need to retract my statement, which I did other day on your show. And so this has kind of been a process for a couple of weeks. These people need to understand that. There's been a lot of deception going on. And so it started with the 2,100 children. Then they came after my integrity, and Speak Project had to stand in my honor on that. And then I couldn't get invited to the Zoom meeting, and it's about Carl Wiskowski's case and 2 other cases. It's very important in this meeting to also report that they never mentioned and discussed the other 2 people. They discussed Carl's case. I was the only one that had the intel. And so, I
Michelle,
worked this case.
So in this meeting, how long did the meeting last?
2 hours.
So you had a 2-hour meeting with Able Dangerous Team, the Children's Crusade, right? And in this, they talked about one parent and 1 child in the case you were very, very familiar with. And you were really the only one that had information, correct? And they were talking about
the first 30 minutes, which was me going over the police report with the porn on there. When I was telling them how much was on the hard drive, they didn't know how much porn was on the hard drive, and that the Tom had on there. And I had the information. There were 47 images, and they were identified by National Missing Exploited Children. There were 422 that were apparent girls were recognized by the National Missing Exploited Children. There were 280 of these girls that were not even known to the organization and are brand new victims. And I had done my homework. And my homework had been turned in to Phil McConnell's group since August the 17th. This was my report on August the 17th. And so this was directly from Elgene on FOIA, that DCFS is 100% aware of the report material, and knowing all of this has allowed a pedophile, Thomas Bell, to place a 1-year-old and 3-year-old child in his care. I told that the hard drive was compromised with approximately 44,000 files, and I gave the number of how many children. So when I started giving the police report, I have the police report of how many children. This group did not even know how you gather the hard drive and the forensic evidence on this. And that was the one that you and I talked that night about. I said, how could you not know that? Like, if you're working with these
if that's what you
You know,
do, like this is the Children's Crusade.
right.
That's the claim. I mean, the whole organization is built around gathering evidence and
Right.
bringing justice, right?
Yeah, we're not working. You know, I used to work very minor cases of just a failed drug test, and those were very easy cases at this point. Now I have dealt with children that are in rituals and sacrifices and have you know really horrible things. I mean, let's just be blunt that society doesn't want to talk about that. The elites really do have events where they feast on children, and there are children that watch these things. There are sacrifices. We have, there's been some really horrible things, and so those are more of the cases that I work now is more of children that have been taken through child protective services, and the court systems have placed their hands in the pedophile or the foster parent or the government is trafficking these children. So that's kind of the route that I'm working right now. And with this case, was very important to me because of her injustice. She could not get help. She was getting threats, and that area, I have other cases that are very hot within probably about a 4-town area. So I was actually tracing the trafficking routes. But with this case, when I come into this meeting, they did not even know that they had the very basic. They didn't have the case. They didn't have any information. So I talked to you that night. You and I were kind of trying to put some pieces together. And so then I decided the next morning to text Cara because I really have been working with her. And I've given all of y'all the proof of that. So anybody that wants to question that, Tank and Sid can come fight my honor again if they need to. And so I text her and I was like, hey, are you working with the Children's Crusade? I was in a Zoom meeting for 2 hours last night.
Now, Michelle, is this the recording that we have queued up? Do you want me to play this?
Which one has he got set first?
He has the 2 calls you made today. He doesn't have the Zoom meeting.
No, not yet. So let me kind of lead up to it. Don't play this yet. So we can put that in a video format. And so I call Cara and I tell her that we have an issue. And I said, we have. She goes, no, they've not contacted me. And I said, okay, well, this is the way I have been led to believe. And they didn't have anything. She goes, they haven't been I've not been contacted by them. Now, in the conversation with her and I that multiple people have now, I said something is wrong here. Something is going on here. And I said, we're running out of time. Then I came to you when we realized we had an intel situation. And I said to you, the other day I was very upset. And I was telling you we had an urgency. I've had urgency on a few of my cases that have been very severe out of multiple states. And I came to you and said, I'm running out of time. We had we had a ticking time bomb in one area. And
let me just address this. So specifically, this information, you're dealing with children's lives. Obviously, this is very important for everyone to understand that in these cases, if you can imagine what it would like for someone to take your child, now they have in possession your child, and you are desperately looking for help. So you would think an organization that's named Child Protective Services would be of help, but obviously they're the ones that are taking the children. You would think there's a hotline. You call that, and now you call the hotline, and that takes you in a circular route back to the same people that took your child, right? So now you have this cycle going on, and there needs to be places where people can reach out with people they can trust who are well-funded, which, by the way, I swear to God on my life, that is going to happen so fast. It's about to happen so fast. We're going to make sure that's one of the very first things we are going to do is fund those, fund people that we've vetted.
Because right now, this group, Children Crusade, they're one of the people that you would have thought you could call, that you could trust. Do not call the Children's Crusade. You cannot trust them. I want to be very clear about that. Do not call them. Now, I have held back, hoping I would find different evidence. But the mountain of evidence we have is tragic. It's tragic. And I just want to make that clear. And now, Michelle is referring to some things. Now, luckily, something told Michelle to get this evidence out, and the Children's Crusade team had offered to pick it up. And the person who was going to pick it up was, just someone contributing to what she thought was part of the cause, right? If she would have picked it up, right, and would have had security, because it's that sensitive, it's that important, the information, and she would have turned it right over to Phil McConnell. Now, Phil McConnell, what I do know is he was boasting the other day about when you find out who I work for, you're all going to feel stupid, right? Because he's very impressive, right? Curious about this. So, in all his being impressive, that incredible information, which, by the way, the information that we picked up, it could bring down a lot of people, very important people, and that's all I'm going to say about it. But here's the thing. Something told Michelle that she had to make other arrangements. So she called me, and I took care of it. We had our people pull it out, and we had to set up a little bit of an operation to do it to make sure that nobody got hurt. Because we knew that they'd be tracking it, because they were being watched. Now, we pulled the information out, luckily, and we scattered things about to make sure that nobody knows where it's at. That's the first thing. Now, from there, Michelle, because I'm very happy we pulled that and we didn't give it right back to Phil McConnell, who claims he's helping with the alleged Pentagon task force. But I know for a fact he's getting information from the Chinese elders who are Rothschilds, who are promising the RV, right? And everybody thinks the RV is going to happen. It's never going to happen because it would demolish the world's economy and it would be the zombie apocalypse, right? Now, Phil McConnell's all bought in on that, right? He's all bought in, so I know who he's dealing with. So, Mr. McConnell, with all due respect, or Mr. Danger, whatever you like to be called, you're working for the wrong people. I don't necessarily think you're a bad person, but you're definitely working for the wrong people. So from there, Michelle, go ahead.
So, with this information, I'm going to just say that we had some information. I'm going to tell you the one reason why I don't think it got picked up is because with that case, no one had my brief. No one knew what was sitting there. Only I and that family knew, and only what I can know at that level without going in and seeing it. Because of my situation, had to be in a secured location, I had not been able to go meet them face to face. But I knew enough. I knew where they was tying to. And so I really believe that was the reason why I was getting a delay. I got a delay for over a week to get the evidence. And my intuition, and I believe, source told me, no, you better find someone else. So I came to you, and I told you I had a situation. And as we spoke and I started giving you information, intel, you knew that we were sitting on a ticking time bomb. This was critical evidence. This will take a lot of people down. It could save a lot of lives. This could save a lot of children in the future, families. And I'm not going to say any names, but I know they watch your show. And they are heroes in my eyes. And I'm just a vessel. And I admire their bravery for what they've done on behalf of humanity. And that's what it's supposed to be about, Mr. McConnell. And so this case goes back to Cara. And, the evidence had been given in. She tells me that she's not spoke with them. And I had given other evidence that was maps that is not available to the government. They were hand drawn. I that in the past few days was going to be severe rituals where a lot of children could be killed. And you've seen a copy of that brief. And right now my fear is that brief is put in the wrong hands. And so I have possibly another situation where we're not talking about 500 children. We're talking about thousands of children that could have deceased in the last couple of days that my work was trying to stop. I'm sorry. Just a minute.
Take time.
Hey, do me a favor and mute your mic when she's talking because there's a huge echo when she does.
Got it.
You know, Tank knows Tank and a lot of other people get my intel, and I listen to a lot of audio. I listen to a lot of people, and I hear a lot of horrible stories. And there was a situation that was going to be happening that we could have really stopped a lot of bad people, and a lot of deaths among children that have been taken from American families. And I take great pride in my work. This work is not easy to do. This is not work that I would like to be doing. And I don't want to have to work to rescue children from being sacrificed or trafficked or sexually abused. And so for me to give intel to someone who made a couple of choices, and I don't have the answer yet, and if you would love to call me and give me the answers, feel free to contact Tank, because that's the only way you're going to be able to talk to me. If you got the information and you couldn't do anything with it, if you're a man of integrity and a man of honor, you would have come to me and said, I can't do anything with this. This is a lot of children you can save. You have put your life on the line to get this intel, to get hand-drawn maps, to get locations. I gave them locations where the children were being hidden. If you could not handle it, and just because it's too big, be a man of honor and a man of integrity and a man with some damn balls to come back to this woman and tell her you can handle it. But I have a really bad feeling that's not what happened. What I really believe is happening is that you have been deceiving people. And because at the beginning, my cases were getting worked and kids were coming home, and then all of a sudden we had a change. And we have where we have children being reported found and they were not found. When I start seeing a pattern of people being deceived, then I'm going to question your integrity. So that's where we're at right now.
Wait,
So,
now, Michelle. So I just want to make sure I clarify this. So you had intel, maps, rituals, all types of things. Now you are in the belly of the beast in Arkansas, right? This is a major hub. This is the Clinton fortress down there. They've run Arkansas for a long time. You had all this information. Now, your part, you gathered all the information. You were the only one that had it. You reached out to who you thought you could trust to share the information, trusting they would do something to rescue, to save, to stop this action. Is that right? I want to make sure I understand it, right? And this was...
Absolutely. I was the only one that was given the hand-drawn maps. I gave the location of the children. And this was going to be rituals that started around October the 11th and gone until last night, possibly today. We were looking at Halloween, and I gave the locations of where the children were going to be hid, what lodges, what Masonic lodges. I gave location of the houses. These were all hand-drawn maps that no one had ever had access to, and it was an opportunity to save. The numbers could have been easily over 10,000 children easily. I gave them the location of the acres, over 200 acres, so what these people do when they go into ritual time, they chase children. It's a hunt. And I had given them the location of the property and everything. And I literally said in that brief, I need a task force with balls to stop this. I was pleading for help, and because the intel that I had gotten was that serious, I had, like I said, I literally had hand-drawn maps. I knew exactly where the kids were going to be hidden. And then my request was on multiple times to Mr. McConnell that if we cannot rescue and save all the children, could you please have boots on the ground to get the evidence of who's there so we can prosecute? Because what people don't realize is the reason you don't have evidence a lot of times of this mass murder of children is because they cremate these children into to make them black diamonds. And so that's why you don't have the evidence that you have. So a lot of times people in the public, they say, well, we don't see 120,000 children that have died in Texas. Well, the reason you don't is because they cremate them and they turn them into black diamonds. So the evidence is hidden. And so,
what does that mean? I'm sorry to interrupt, but what do you mean turn them into black diamonds? I don't understand that.
it's a black diamond. Google it. Google it, black diamond. It's made from humans. They make diamonds out of human bone, children. They burn them and make black diamonds.
That's horrible.
And if you look at Epstein when he was being arrested, part of his, and when he was trying to get released on bail, if you realize, part of his deal was diamonds. He literally, in front of y'all's face, was telling you, I am going to offer you money, and I'm going to offer you diamonds of children that I freaking sacrificed. And y'all didn't see it in the media. I knew what they were doing.
Yeah, I was just googling it, so to take a look. Yeah, that's really horrible.
Look up.
Yeah,
It's not white diamonds. You gotta look at the black diamonds. And I've educated on my Facebook page and showed you people where that comes. But they cremate them, and that's why you don't have the evidence. You do. I actually have been able to gather that in my intel on where was the evidence going. So I had given this location, this party, and I said, I actually called it, the name of the brief was, I want the castle, I'm coming for the castle, because it was the opportunity for us to come for the castle. And I had an opportunity of maps, I had an opportunity to rescue, I'm probably being very fair on numbers, saying 40,000 children. In Dallas, in Texas, at one time, it was 120,000 children that did not get rescued. So I'm not working with small numbers and rescuing children. So I gave them the information, and I was not. It was not one brief. I followed up over and over. Where are we at on this? I need to know where we're at on this. This is my work, and I am not, people need to realize that I have been willing to walk away from everything. I walked away from everything. And I put my life on the line every single day to rescue children. And for you to sit on this and not even tell the president to get the boots on the ground and get the cameras up so we know who's there it is the lowest that you could ever be. Someone said something to me today after I got this phone call that we will be discussing in a minute. They said, I hope that he is never in your presence. And I said, he will never need to be in my presence. Because there is one thing that I have learned, that when I called Tank and I told him I had an issue and I needed this evidence picked up, it was a ticking time bomb. I knew that I had people's lives in danger. He worked on it. It took a couple of days. He freaking worked on it. And if he couldn't have done it, he would have came back and told me. We have a situation where children were sacrificed this month. And like last night, Dan, like when you're doing my work and you know the numbers, and I know what it's like at these elite parties. I know that there's tables where they feast on these children. It's the most graphic thing that I could ever explain to you. It's things that I will never be able to get out of my mind that I've seen. And so for me, last night going to bed, after I knew that my intel has been in the wrong hands, last night, when I went to bed, I couldn't sleep last night because I knew nothing had been done with my work. And so I knew that there were children dying last night. And then this morning, I get up and I have been working Kara's case. And so Kara's case is very important. And she used the court system. The father of this child was a pedophile, which we have seen multiple times in courts. that what is happening in the court system is the pedophile will marry the woman or he'll have a relationship because you can pay a judge off and the judge will give the children to the pedophile. That's actually, I've chased this back to the Bush area in New York around that time, around 1972, anywhere from 1972 to 77. I can tell you what bar lawyers, I've got all that intel. This ties into the Manhattan Project. And so I've done my research. I know what I'm talking about when it comes to this, what they're doing. And so if it was me today, if I had control, every courthouse that dealt with children right now would be shut down. Really, it would be closed down today. That's what I had my way because they are a threat to our children. And I traveled my state last year fighting for the Seventh Amendment, and the campaign was no price on line. And I had all these lawyers and all these people standing next to me fighting for that, but they haven't been here when it comes to children. And there is a price on life on children. And what are we going to do? When are we going to stand up? A judge should not be on the bench. If people give a child to a pedophile, so that's what happened with this case. In Kara's case, there was all these, like I told you, 44,000 images of porn. And Kara has been threatened by her ex's attorney. Like, he literally told her on August the 28th at 12:15, Scott Sheen told Kara, and he said twice, he said, "You're going to get her head chopped off," and then he vowed and threatened to make her life a living hell. So my question to you, Scott Sheen, who threatened my girl, I guess you were true to your word, because today Kara's son is not alive. He's 2 years old. So everything that y'all said is true. You allowed a 1-year-old to have rectum reconstructive surgery because someone has raped this child and stuck a toothbrush in his rectum that was never completely fixed. And Tom admitted to raping Kara in court in papers. And now we have a little boy named James, right, Herbell, who was born on 10/6/2017. And because of people who want to use an organization and they want to have a name so they can have the glory all for the people, we now have a little 2-year-old who is not with us, who a mother will never get to see her children. And the memories that she's going to have is that our American court systems did not protect her, did not protect this child, and they put him in the hands of a pedophile who continually to rape this child. This child was found in the grandfather's bed, unresponsive. And I just don't get it. This is Kara's message. And I think it's important for people to hear it. Because as mothers, we instinctively always are protecting our children. And I know that right now people say, well, you're away from your children, Michelle. I am protecting my children more than I ever have right now with the work I'm doing. But Kara fought hard for her children. We were fighting hard for our children. I gave that intel in August that we had a red alert. There was an emergency. I had tied this into the godparent is good friends with the Clintons. And this was a very serious case. And, I think that because people chose to want to have a show and have attention that they're doing something, things didn't get done. And so today, this is what we have. We have a mother who says this to her little baby. James Reckerville. Rest in peace, my beautiful boy. You are a gift to this world. Your intelligence and kindness was beyond your years. You were so very loved by everyone. The moments I had with you, I will cherish forever. I will always love you, and every day, every hour, every minute, I will think of you. Your hands were still warm when I held you. I'm sorry I was not there for your final breaths. You are my heart, my angel. I am thankful for the 2 years that we have together. And 10/6/2017 to 10/31/2019. And if people were doing their freaking jobs, she wouldn't have had to write that. And that's the bottom line. If people acted instead of trying to act like there's something they're not, if judges, if courts, and everybody was doing that, mothers wouldn't be writing this. Mothers would not be making plans to bury their children. And it's not just one case. This is happening across America. This is happening across the world because we are not standing up and saying enough. We are still seeing this. We see that Child Protective Services takes 88% of the children in child trafficking come from Child Protective Services. Why is that system in place? Why is it working? But we still allow, and by the way, I'll call Trump out on this. 3 years ago, I've got your tweets because I keep everything when it comes to this. You said to the public, I will shut Child Protective Services down. It doesn't take 3 years to shut a program down. Shut it down. You are funneling 700 children a day in the United States through Child Protective Services in the hands of pedophiles. It is an incentive, it's a money program, and it is time to shut it down. And if you will not shut it down, I'm going to call on the behalf of my veterans, who I called the other day, and I said to you, you've got to come home. And when I told my veterans, I need you to come home and heal your hearts and heal your land, this is why I need you to heal your hearts and heal your land. And this is why I need my veterans on American soil, because no one is protecting our American children. And that is what is going on in this world. If we cannot stand up and protect the innocents, humanity is lost. And that is not who we are. That is not who we are. I do not do my work for this. I will not allow innocence, the blood of a child, to be continued, to be raped, abused, sold. I have a 3-year-old that was sold by Child Protective Services 12 times in one day. You imagine your 3-year-old child having to have a penis in its mouth, in its rectum, in its vagina, 12 to 13 times a day. That is reality, people. That is what's going on our land. And it is time to heal our land. And the only way that we can heal our land is to shut this program down, hold everyone accountable, and it is time for everybody to stand up. I've been screaming it for over a year. But today, I'm sitting here looking at my cases that I know that there are multiple children who died in the last 3 weeks because someone didn't give the intel to who they were supposed to. And now I have another child because you didn't give the intel who you were supposed to that is gone. What are my words to that mother? I'm sorry? I cannot bring that child back. What do we do? I think you need to take it for a minute.
Okay. Now, first of all, that is a heavy, heavy burden for anybody to carry. I just want to point this out, that this is not a game. And I do want to tell people out there that we are going to form our own task force, and we are going to make sure that there is an option. And I know that there are good people out there fighting this fight, and I know there are people doing all they can do who aren't consumed by the opportunity to make a little money. I can even imagine a scenario that was described to me recently that I believe it is true, that one of these organizations was actually trying to help kids. So, but they didn't have money, they didn't have funding, so they sold a few kids to get the money they needed to fund their organization to go help more kids. But they're not doing that anymore. Now, the reality is something has to be done. Now, I want to say this directly, and please, I'm going to make sure this gets to President Trump myself, but President Trump, she's right. 3 years to shut down an organization that is devouring and feeding on our children is too long. However, I will give you a pass in this sense. You've had to overcome impossible odds to do anything. So this is just one more thing. But in this case, I'm going to offer you something because on the ground level, we don't have people we can trust right now. Abel Danger's group, the Children's Crusade, who Michelle Walker has put all of this work in while she's in the den of iniquity down in Arkansas, the home of the Clinton cartel, mafia child trading business, working it out with Epstein. Everybody knows it's going down. Everybody knows this is happening. And I gotta be honest, I can feel the weight that Michelle's going through right now because this is a kid that we could have helped, but we turned the information over to Abel Danger. I mean, that was before I was really involved, but it's all information that was turned over to Abel Danger. And Michelle told them this is a red alert. This is a big deal. And they didn't even call the mother. So that group, the Children's Crusade, I have to say unequivocally, they are fraudulent. They are not doing anything because they allowed this 2-year-old to show up dead in a bed after having nothing but positive evidence. And they have been asking Michelle for all of her intel and doing nothing with it. So, President Trump, I want you to know right now, we have gathered every piece of evidence anyone needs. We have everything. I've distributed it out to about 100 different locations. But none of those locations are places of action. They're all places that are safe spots that I know the information will never get lost. And we just do that to protect our people. But here's the most important thing. I need to get the information to you, and I need you to do something about it. I need your people to contact us to get this to you. Now, I know people. We speak directly to some of the people you're associated with. You know that. I need you to please help us get that done. Please help us. Because we're up against impossible odds, and you know what? We're winning. But I cannot have another death like this on my conscience. And I will not be like Abel Danger and sit back and pretend. Because I have a lot of people who work with this. But as of right now, I don't trust any of them. I got one in all these different agencies, all these different, they're so corrupt. They're so corrupt. Even the guys I know are good guys, I don't know who I can trust. I don't know who I can trust. And you know what? And I've reached out to the ones I thought I could trust, and they have not even responded to me. So if you don't have a task force, I need you to make sure our funding gets in, because this is the biggest emergency going on in the whole country. 700 people dying a day. I mean, they'll go in and vaccinate the whole state, make it mandatory if 3 kids get the freaking measles. But we got kids dying every day, getting taken from their family, trafficked out and sold. Nobody's doing anything. Instead, they create false narratives and they award people like Timothy Holmes for doing what? For doing what? And if I'm wrong, if there's really a secret task force that's hiding these kids and all this is going on, then you better sure as hell get a hold of me and tell me. Because we're doing all we can do with everything we have. And I'm connected to a lot of people, but I know right now, every connection I have, I cannot find one person in these agencies, even in the Pentagon, anywhere. I have not touched one of them. And even though I believe them to be good, I have not get them to care enough, even the good men that I know, to even care enough to pick up the phone and call me back. And that's going on almost 5 days now. And we have enough evidence and information right now to bring down the whole cartel. And I can't get you to respond. So please, President Trump, I know you do better than that. Ivanka, hook your brother up, please. We are trying to save these kids. We need your help. All right, Michelle, I'm sorry. You good now?
I'm good. Thank you. I needed a minute. This is very heavy. I mean, my chest, that's what you said. You can feel it because right now my chest is just like, feels like it's going to get in right now. I am a person who, this is what's going on, and then I give solutions. That's how I'm always going to be. We have suffered enough. Our families have been broken down for a reason. They had to destroy the family to get the narrative and the slave that they wanted to do to make you a slave. And I'm going to tell you right now, you will never break me down enough to stop doing what I'm doing. And I will stand and fight until the very last child is protected. So I'm not going away. So you need to know that. And what has happened today is actually probably going to burn your ground down of what you've done. And I say that in love and light, but I mean all darkness comes to light. And I traveled my state for 8 months, and I've not slept in probably about 4 years getting intel and information. And if I can do it, and I don't work for an agency, and I can get all these facts, what the hell's going on with you, government? Why can't you do the job? I'm one woman show. Speakwalker. You don't see it, you see these people that you're watching, Speakwalker. I have people that volunteered. We have no funding. And I'm kicking your ass right now on Intel. And I'm kicking your ass on saving children in court. What the hell is going on here? And if you can't do the job, and I remember very correctly, which I think I'm going to have Speak Project and release the brief that I wrote, because I said 2 things. Give me a task force for falls. And I ended it saying, and you tell my president I'm not taking no for an answer. And I mean that. I'm still not taking no for an answer. It may be after Halloween. Guess what? They don't care. They don't quit because they're not quitting because you haven't done anything. Not taking no for an answer. If you can't do it, stop messing around, fund it, stop messing with the funds, fund it so we can put things in place and take care of this. There are good people who are willing to do this. People like me, people like other people that will stand up. Because it's about humanity. We have all suffered enough. I said the other day to you, 7.7 billion of us have been trafficked out. You all have been human trafficked out. Every bit of you, every one of you is a slave. Every one of you have been trafficked out. It's time for you to take a stand. You are running out of time. What do we have to say to you? Do you want me to start showing you the pictures of people eating on children? Because I can release that. Will that wake you up? You bring my veterans home because I need them on my land. Our job is to protect the children. That is where I will stand. And I'm not taking no for an answer. What has been done in the last few weeks that I have seen is I would almost say it's treasonous to me. For you to act like that you work for the Pentagon Task Force, and if you really hold that position and you didn't do a damn thing, I think you're pretty much responsible for all these children that died. And that's how I feel about it. So maybe you need to go to prison for being responsible for these kids dying. Because I was doing everything I could, and you made me believe you could do something about it. You lied. You're a deceiver. You are a fraud. But I'm going to tell you right now, if my next army has to be that I come on this show every night and I start dropping the maps and I start telling the American people where your locations will be, where you will sacrifice the children, that is what I will do. And I will build my own army to be there to stop it. This is enough. How many people have to die before you're going to act? We cannot have that anymore. You have to stand up, guys. You've got to. Humanity is, I said the other day, we are at the point of the rescue is here. When we all come together as one, and Tank always talks about this to y'all about becoming one consciousness, being one, becoming one as a whole, and we can change this. there is a lot of darkness out there, but when we all come, they're more afraid of us than we should be afraid of them because there's a whole lot more of us. But the thing is, you have to wake up. You have to wake up, you have to demand change, you have to create change, and you have to be willing to put the things in motion to make it happen. And, that's what we do. We put things in motion to make things happen. And like I said, we don't have a budget, we don't have the money, and I'm kicking your ass. So what's going on here? And, you got a little 5'2" girl in Southern Arkansas that can handle this, and you can't. How is it that I have never been trained? By the way, FBI Arkansas and all of y'all said I was, and I wasn't, but I can do the job better than you can. And so I really think it's very important, Tank, for me. A lot of times when people hear this, they're like, "Oh, is this real? What's going on?" So I am gonna, with Kara's case today, after I came home and found out what has happened, I did call DCHS. And because there's still a daughter, Kara's daughter is still not, we do not know her location. And of course, we are concerned about her safety because of the situation. And so I did call, and I would ask if we still have time, if you could play that for the audience, because I really believe the audience needs to see this is typical. This is a typical runaround that parents receive. But I really want them to hear it, and I want Trump and them and whoever watches this to know exactly what's going on. So can you play that audio for me?
Yeah, I'll get it right now. So in context here, this is the young lady whose 2-year-old son was just found dead, correct?
Correct. And I'm calling to call and talk to them and find out where the daughter is.
Gotcha. All right, so here we go. It's playing right now. Let me know when you guys can hear it. The audio's not there yet.
And just an FYI, your audio is being altered.
Mine is in.
Yeah.
All right. Hang on 1 second.
Yeah. Every time you come on like these very important shows, something goes wrong.
So give me 1 second. I'm just going to jump off to my account.
Okay.
So the audio and that you're going to hear is I actually called the number that you call for DCHS, and Cara asked, she gave me the number, and so because of that number, I called to see what was going on, what I could do, and I actually do not really have all the calls put in place, but I called 3 times or 3 conversations. There was 4 calls, but in 3 conversations, I was hung up on each one of these calls. So I want the audience to know that I was actually hung up every single time. And so we put a piece together for Tank to play. Tank, are you back?
Yeah, he just came in, but I think
I got it queued up. Yeah.
Okay, now you sound better.
Michelle.
Okay. All right, here we go. So this is this should already be playing. And right now it's nuts. Why not? Excuse me. Well, we have a technical difficulty for a second. So this is also typical of the kind of games they play, right? Because I'm sure it doesn't take a technical genius to block my very high-tech computer. But that's the way it goes. Let's see here.
Did we try and send the file to Dan? Or?
Yeah, that's a good idea. Thanks.
Okay.
There we go.
It'll take me a little while. Michelle, let me ask you a question while we're trying to get this queued up about those black diamonds. I did a little, looking up
Lisa
of
on
things.
here right now. Hey Dan, I just put that in your Telegram. If you can just check and see if you can
Okay, all right.
if you can play it, that'd be great. And I will make you the co-host so that you can do that.
Well, let's see. I'll probably do it a little bit differently, but
You know,
But it's okay. Yes.
I know the cabal thinks they're really clever, but just so you know, we formed a whole media company using our cell phones so that we can put out the highest possible quality video and tape and everything else, right? We operate in all over the place, on the road, in cars. No matter what you do, we're going to bring the message out. Now that, and we make it look good. I mean, for the most part, right?
We try anyway.
We have already been approved, right? We have already been approved for actual community revitalization all over the world. We've already got approval from an authority much higher than them. That money will come in, and we will use it. We will make sure that this stuff stops. And I'll tell you what, I was talking to a couple different task force just now, back and forth on the phone. I guess everybody's waking up, right? I got to be honest. At the end of the day, I'm going to put my own people in, because what I find, if we don't know what's going on, if we don't have a direct hand in it, it's very hard to trust these people. Very hard to trust them. So, because everybody gets bought off, but we're going to put money in to make sure that nobody can be bought off. We'll make sure. Like, that's going to definitely be a priority.
I stopped you for a minute when you said that, being bought off. And, I'm not even into deep detail, but, last year, I had many opportunities where they were trying to buy me off. And it was in Senator French Hill's office with the Deputy Director of Veteran Affairs. And I've been offered money out of Wichita, Kansas, but I've been offered sums of money, and even to the point of when I was fighting for my children, they made a bogus claim, and they told me they could make my kid problem go away. So this is something they do, and even with me, I wasn't fighting CPS, but let me tell you, they will put you in court. The state of Arkansas, my attorney did not tell me about deposition. The state of Arkansas did not tell me about my court hearing. My daughter told me I had a court hearing in 5 days. The state of Arkansas sold my other house without telling me. They offer money. This is how they work here. And this is not just I hear many cases this is happening. But I do want it on the record that they have tried to buy me off multiple times. I've been offered quite a bit of money, in the millions actually. I was offered with my veteran program that I could make it as big as I wanted. And I did not accept it, and I will not accept. And so I just want that to be known that is something they do for us that are really fighting the movement. And they do try to make deals. They'll really make your life hell, and they'll threaten you with your children. They'll threaten you with death. And I've had 6 attempts on my life this year that I know of. And so, this is their MO. That's how they work.
Okay, I do have the audio ready to go.
Okay, thank you. Yes, I went to speak to supervisor, and I advise not to hang up on me this time, please.
Yeah, let's turn that up a little bit.
I have no way to turn it up.
I want to speak to the supervisor. It'll get louder in a minute. I'm going to go on the air and expose you in about 15 minutes. I would get the supervisor. I'm not threatening. I would like to talk to a supervisor because we still have a daughter of hers that is in their care. And so if we have a child, ma'am, that is missing, we need help. I need to make sure this child is okay. That's not threatening you. We've asked y'all for help over and over. This child had been molested since he was 1. Rectum surgery in the hands were still fitting a pedophile. We still have a little girl that we need help on. That's not threatening you. Are you still there? Hello? Who's speaking? Who's speaking? I would like your name, please. And this is Michelle Walker with an advocacy, and so I'm asking who I'm speaking with, please.
We cannot do anything else like that.
No, sir, you can. And I want you to know that this phone call is going to probably go up to Trump. So let's just kind of be real here. And you have a child that was in your care that you put in a pedophile's hands that was to a pedophile that was deceased last night. Kara Laskowski is his mother, Thomas Bell. The child is 2 years old. There is still a daughter in this pedophile care. Are y'all going to act on this behalf of this child, the girl? Do you even know that this child is deceased? Because a lot of times children deceased and y'all care and y'all do nothing about it.
Okay. I cannot say anything. I'm not in this process. How do you find this case?
And I'm her advocate, and I've been working this case with the.
Which evidence? What number did you are? I don't know who you are.
I don't know who you are either because you're too scared to give me your.
You come on the phone.
Yes, sir, I called your number because you are a government agency to protect children. Sir, I am calling you because your job as a government agency. Hey, you need to speak clearly. Do not play this language with me. Do not play this language with me where people can't understand. Hello. I'm here. Thank you. Thank you very much for your help. Yes, sir.
Hey, Michelle.
Yeah, is that it?
Speak again, Michelle.
Keep on. He's going to come back on. He gets a minute. And he comes back with the number.
Well, I looked at the audio. It's actually over.
It's over. Okay.
Yeah.
So let me tell you what he does. He comes back and he's clear on his English now. That's okay. So that's what they do. They know that they're being recorded. They'll mess with their language where you can't understand them. But I wasn't playing that game. And so when he comes back, he gives me a number to the legal team of BCHS, and so I called them, and so I have that recorded also. And I had to leave a message. And so then this guy calls me back, and Chad, he calls me back, and then he says that he is in communications. And so then he tells me that he can't do anything, that I need to call the investigation deal. And I'm like, well, I've already called them twice, and they hung up on me. And so he ends up even hanging up on me. So we got really nowhere with this today. So, and they're all clear, and all recordings that I have a child that died last night. I have a child that's still in the custody. I want to know where this child is located, and the best they can give me is the man who we're hearing talking. He hung up on me because I actually said, "Are you too callous to give me your name?" And when I said that, he hung up on me. So yeah, he's too callous to give me his name. And then the other guy that I spoke with, it was the same circus. You can do this and that. And I told them that I was coming after the bonds and everything. They had blood on their hands. I couldn't shut them down.
Yeah, I know the audio is bad. We're going to post those out, so don't worry, guys. You'll be able to hear them.
Yeah, we'll
Very alarming.
We're live now, but we'll patch in better audio when we actually run on the Speak project.
I'm doing it again to your voice, damn it.
Yeah, I'm working on it right now to boost the audio by converting the file and putting it in another program and so on.
Yeah, all of a sudden everybody sounds like really raspy and weird. But anyway, that's just what they do.
All right. Steve, can you hear me now? Is my voice still, they mess with my voice right now?
Your voice is still,
I got it.
He sounds good on my end.
No, he doesn't. I can hear it. I hear everything. But that's okay. You got the message out that you wanted to put out. I thought it was impactful.
True.
Right. So that being said, you know what? I think we should shut this down. I wanted to keep this as short as possible because obviously this is a very powerful message, but there's so much to it that needs to be focused on. So for tonight, Michelle, are we okay signing off for now? I mean, we know we got a lot of work to do, right?
Well,
We did.
but I just want to add something because I do know someone who is on a task force, but it's an unofficial task force. They've gone around countries and rescued kids from cages, and so I mean I don't know how they can help with things that are happening within the U.S., but I think it's a good idea to connect in with that group.
Dan, I have a lot of connections in different task forces, and I also have a lot of military connections and people that are willing to do the work, right? And good people I trust who, a lot of these guys work for us right now for nothing. And to be honest, by the time we get enough people to stand up and do this, it'll be probably because we're able to pay their bills, and help them out and have them actually go out and do this full time. And to be quite honest, I think at the end of the day, I'll end up putting it together myself with the right people because, this is what it is. Because we have so much information, and I feel this strongly. Somebody has got to be out there that you can trust. And as far as I'm concerned, it's a Speak Project, and I know my whole team feels this way, and I know you feel this way, Dan, and Michelle, and everybody that we are closely affiliated with. This would happen with Able Danger will never happen again with anybody we're associated with. This whole thing it's a tragedy. We have a 2-year-old who is dead right now, and an untold number of deaths because a group claimed they could do something and did nothing. And this calls into question every other group that I might trust. So, Michelle, it's so much information.
Can I say something? Yeah, it is. And so tonight I just asked that all of you just, I asked to show me a memory of, her son and the victims that we have had lost. But my request is that for me, for Speakwalkers, that this show is in memory of her son, and then that I'm so sorry that he's had to come this way. This is not what I was fighting for, and I'm going to keep fighting, and I'm going to get you justice. And so I ask that this show is in memory of him, his precious little heart, and I ask all of you to, this has been a hard hit, and take notes that when I talked to him and said today, I was extremely emotional. I didn't know if to do this show tonight. I feel like right now I could just literally have a heart attack. It's so heavy. But I ask that y'all pray and you give your energy and your strength to Cara, that she will keep going on and that she won't give up, because we need her here. And that pray for all these other families that do not have their children. But tonight I just ask from the love of Speakwalkers that you pray for our team and that all of us. This has been a heavy burden, heavy burden for us, and that you could just give everyone strength and what we need to continue to do what we need to do, and just go rest high, baby. Go rest high, because the battle's not over. We'll get justice for your name eventually. So Speakwalkers out, and I love all of you. And if you have your children in front of you, and I haven't got to see mine in 5 months, but my children, I love you. And if you have your children in front of you, love them, enjoy every moment, because you never know when you may not have them. And I love you guys. Speakwalkers out. Have a good night.
Well, Michelle. Okay, we gotta end it.
Yeah.
We already went too long, and people have short attention spans. and we are going to have to clip some of this up, and I'm going to put out a public service announcement.
I'll make sure that it gets cooked out properly and digestible.
And give me
And
Carrie's
we will make sure
name.
we are going to tackle the same issue right now. You know, look, we are moving mountains all over the place. We have lawyers, we have great lawyers, amazing lawyers that are contributing to help us win in the vaccine arena, telling us exactly what I said when I confirmed. They're all confirming exactly what I said, that the lawyers threw the case here. And, you know, they no bar attorney would ever be able to win this because it's part of this whole agenda. And the child trafficking is the exact same agenda. So we are going to keep coming. Now, we have funding coming in, but I'll tell you what, it doesn't matter. Because at this point, even with Phil on the phone, we've been adamant not to pursue funding or donations or anything else. You know what? I've changed my mind on that. If we have to sell baseball hats and camouflage bibs or whatever it is, applesauce, meatballs, or health products, I don't care. We're going to get enough money to make sure we put together a proper task force of people that actually get the job done. Because we've had nothing and we keep getting the job done. And meanwhile, you got these super popular mega giants, you know, who made a living off reporting on crimes, like Abel Danger, claiming to be, you know, he's got military experience, and yet no results. And that's all. So
Yeah, we can get behind that. If there's a cause that we can get behind, we will sell whatever.
which we fought this the whole way. We have fought this the whole way. And I still feel this way. Somebody has to have enough integrity that you can trust them if they're not trying to sell you something. So I'm
Right.
not trying to sell you something. What I'm trying to do is save the damn kids. Because this is a much larger agenda, and everybody's missing it. The CDC just said their focus for 2020 is to take away all exemptions to the vaccines. Now, if you are listening to the mainstream mafia, you probably think, well, yeah, you should be immunized. Vaccines don't immunize you. And if they do, why don't they do the studies so we can all embrace it? Every other drug does. Why not vaccine? Give vaccines to our babies. Our babies. Stop being stupid, people. They're doing this to dumb us down. There's reasons, there's things and elements in there, and it's proven beyond a shadow of a doubt. We've got whole research teams. All they do is bring back information. I can't even believe these things are allowed on the market.
No. It's insane.
It's got to change. Look, we're pushing it. We've got our first case filed in the court of record. We already began the second. Right now, I'm about to get on the phone with the forensic nurse, and we're going to bring her on somewhere and make sure we do a show with her right now. And then right after that, I have a call with a lawyer I'm not going to say, but a couple of different vaccine specialists who are ready to kick ass and take names, and they already broke it down, and they took everything I said and they improved it. So I'm like, beautiful. You know, this time I'm not going to put the secret out, because you know we tell everybody everything, because you know I'm like the babe. I like to call my shots, but in this case we're not going to. I just want to. But I will say that we're never going to stop going. So, Dan, any closing comments, man, before you end the show?
Only that this is the time to get going, to rise up, do something. This is what we need to do right now. We can't just wait around for everyone else to come and do it for us. You can't wait for the government to do it for you. You can't trust what they have been doing. So we got to do something, and we got to do it. We have to do it ourselves. You know, even if we have to do citizens arrest against CPS, right, and put them into the common law courts, whatever it takes. You know, that they are a foreign entity. You know.
And by the way, we have a very clear strategy and plan coming up. By the way, the lawyer I spoke to today took everything I said into account. She and I were both in. It was the best conversation I ever had with a lawyer. So I'm going to talk about that next. We're going to shut this down to make sure we stop the recording.
Okay.
Dan, if you don't mind, the forensic nurse just called me, and I'd love to bring her on and talk about vaccines, but I want to end this episode. Is that
Sure.
possible?
Yeah. Let's flip it around. Just give me about 15 minutes.
Yep. Take your time. Okay. Everybody have a great night. Peace out from New York, and fight the good fight, everybody.
Just Tank, call me right afterwards, and then we'll talk first before. Okay.
Yeah.